Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have excuse me. On this episode, we have a special guest, Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco. Mike is the CEO at People Building Inc. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Mike C-Roc. Mike, welcome.
Hey, Siddique, welcome, man. Welcome me. Welcome you. Welcome to my studio. I'm so
Wonderful.
thankful to be here, man. I like to start every interview that I go on with gratitude because it's truly an honor to have people wanting me to be sharing on their show with their audience, and I'm just truly grateful. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Feeling is mutual. Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, so it goes back to when I was a kid. I came from a broken home. I don't remember my parents ever together, and growing up around a lot of brokenness, broken people, broken mindsets, alcoholism, drug addiction, depression, and even suicide. And so as a kid, I was around a lot of this and trying to figure my way through it, but I didn't ever want to just accept what was going on around me. So I've always been in a situation where I was trying to fix things and trying to be a helper. And matter of fact, when I was 3 to 4 years old, in that range, I just remember my mom always talking about that I was inspiration to her and that I was going to be a leader. And she programmed me with that. And I think it was subconscious. I think she subconsciously programmed me because of the difficulties that I would go through as a child. And she was preparing me for battle, basically. And so, coming back from that age till about 8 years old, I decided my mom was on to her third marriage. And I decided that I wanted to try out living with my dad and his new wife. And because I didn't want to go into a new man's house and learn his rules and all that. So I did for 3 years. And during that time, there was some conflict with my stepmom and my mom and my step parents, and things were going on with the adults that were coming down on to us kids. And I was impacted by that. A lot of it was taken out on us. And so there was times where it was very difficult. I would be threatened at times, abused mentally and emotionally. And I would sleep with my baseball bat at night, 8 or 9 years old, because I was scared to death. So at some point I realized that's not an ordinary lifestyle. And I realized that I need to tell somebody about this. I need to get out of this environment. I knew it wasn't conducive to happiness. And so around 10 or 11 years old, I decided to tell my mom about what was going on. And she filed court papers to get custody of me again. And when that happened, I didn't tell my dad. So I was still living in my dad's house, and there was weeks and weeks would go by while we were waiting for these papers to be delivered. And finally they were, and I came home from school one day, the tension in the room, you could just feel. And my dad had these papers and he said, "Go to your room." Now, my dad was my hero, Siddique. He was a very hard worker. He used to lay bricks and block and pour concrete. He was a mason. He had his own business, did well. He had big forearms and rough hands. If you shook his hand, you knew he was a, hard worker. And he always used to carry this wad of money in his pocket, this wad of $100 bills with a rubber band around it. And as a kid, I thought that was the coolest thing, looking up to it. And, he came back and confronted me about the papers that he had in his hand. And I said, "You know what? I don't want to discuss it. I'm moving on." And I'm sure my dad was probably let down. He felt maybe that he was being abandoned. Maybe he didn't understand the psychological abuse that was going on. But I confirmed it, and he said, "Okay, well, if that's the case and you're leaving here, let me take this wad of $100 bills out." He peeled one off, crumpled it up, and threw it at me and said, "You're going to need this then when you're living on the streets with your mother one day." And at 11 years old, to have your hero tell you that, a lot of things can happen. But what happened for me was there was a spark that was lit. And that spark, for 30 some years, I've been driving off of, because I did not want my dad to win. I felt it was a challenge. And so I've always used that to fuel when I didn't feel like doing something, when things got tough. I would always think back to that moment and keep pushing through. And I've always elevated no matter what happened to me in my life. And 2 years ago, I did a self-assessment because I was going through a stage in my life, a pretty dark period of time. And I realized I got to figure out, why am I always elevating no matter what happens to me? And I found out the reason was I was taking anything that would stop normal human beings or slow them down, and I was storing it in my fuel tank instead of my trunk where it would weigh me down. And I was converting it into rocket fuel for my future so that I would become unstoppable. Once I realized this, my graph started going straight up like a rocket ship trajectory instead of just gradually. And then I said to myself, I got to share this with people. This is powerful. If I can share this with people, I can help other people become unstoppable. So my mission is to show all people that they are unstoppable to live in the life of their dreams, Siddique.
Wonderful, amazing story. Thank you so much. What are the top 3 mistakes to avoid?
1, not getting clear on what you want out of life, just roaming and drifting through your life. That's a big, big, big problem. A lot of people have, and then before they know it, most of their life is over, and they look back and they just can't believe that they wasted the time. So intentionality and clarity. I would say the next one would be being inconsistent. Consistency is boring. And when you're going through things and you don't feel like doing things sometimes, or things get difficult, I got a little secret for you. I'll tell you here. I haven't told on any other podcast. I have a way to get 100% participation from yourself.
We will get it. That's one of the question is answer to that one. So
okay. No, I'll stick to that. What
are the top 3 mistakes to avoid?
Yeah. So clarity, consistency, and then from there, letting other people talk you out of your beliefs and dreams.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful.
I'll keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, please. What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
I would say I don't have a failure story necessarily, because I'm just a perversely unyielding, stubborn person. When I want something, I just don't quit. So, if you want to call it a failure, I would say I had a company that we took to 8 figures in revenue, and we had really good margins, really good profits. And I let the culture slide in the company, and it came crumbling down. And that took us 7 years to get to that point. And then the recovery it took us 2 years to get back to that same point when we started from scratch.
What are your top 3 success secrets that others can model from?
Man, I stick with the letter C with this. Letter C was clarity, which I already spoke about, commitment, and consistency.
We are about to start a lightning round. And are you
that wasn't the lightning round?
No, this is okay. What are you grateful for today?
Man, you know what? This is a great question. My favorite thing as I started the interview is gratitude. And every morning I wake up, as soon as I open my eyes, I say thank you. And I wiggle my fingers and I wiggle my toes, and I'm thankful for my hands and feet. So truthfully, what am I most grateful for today is the life that I have, the opportunity to inspire and impact people.
How young are you?
44.
You are not 44. You are 18 years experience. You are 18 years old. Rest is all experience.
I love it. I love it.
What you want to do when you grow up?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I think I want to be man, what do I be when I grow up? Man, I'm doing it now, I think, but I'll tell you, I just want to be a world changer that affects hundreds of millions of people and helps them feel unstoppable.
How do you overcome and challenge the life throws at you?
What I do is I have a mentor that's told me about the 3 A's, which is to acknowledge, accept, and act.
How do you start your day?
Gratitude. Thank you.
What is the advice you will give to younger yourself?
Don't worry about what other people think. Be more concerned about how people experience you.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
I say, hey, babe, I got something here. Let's roll with it.
What is the impactful book you have read and what did you learn from it?
This is the 10X rule by Grant Cardone. Changed my life, changed a lot of people around me's life. And what I learned from it was that anything that you do, you need to aim 10 times higher and also expect 10 times the difficulties.
Why being impactful is important to you?
I feel like when you have something that can help other people, it's ethical and a moral obligation to provide it to other people, because, I think that ethics has to do with survival and helping people survive and thrive. And that's why I want to be impactful.
Who is your mentor and what's the impact?
Grant Cardone is one of my main mentors. And there's a couple other guys that are in his association that I work with. And the impact has just been creating a validation to me to be the animal that I am.
Mhm. What do you want to be remembered for?
I want people to remember, and again, I focus on the experience that people have for me. When they're finished with me, I want them to say, man, he's got me feeling like I can accomplish anything I want.
Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is someone that is wanting to be better and wants help and appreciates help and is striving for greatness.
How can we support you?
Supporting me with getting the message about www.mikecroc.com and my book, Rocket Fuel, Convert Setbacks, Become Unstoppable, that is coming out at the end of April 2021.
I know you wanted to share something. Is there anything else you like to share, which I didn't really get around to it? Go for it.
Sure. We have a new tech product coming out. We started a new company called Blueprinted, BLOO Printed. And it is basically a project management software inside of Marketplace where people that have had success before can reverse engineer their success in a step-by-step algorithmic format in our system. And they can sell the blueprint to success in any vertical that they're in to the marketplace.
Wonderful. I would love to explore that one. I'm probably one of your client. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
We are about to wrap up. I like to ask a quick feedback on your today's guest experience on the show. Here is my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
Man, I just love your red shirt right away because your red shirt showed energy and I just love that brightness. And the questions that you asked were all the questions that you need to know to be successful.
What would you say as a final word?
Final word is convert all your setbacks, difficulties, discouragements, your own screw ups, store them in your tank and convert them into rocket fuel for your future to become unstoppable.
Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.